What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shooky from Shook Earth Media, and today we're taking a look at Silent Hill games that have recently been announced and my expectations for the games based on the games that the developers have made in the past, and just speculating on what the future of the series is going to be. So if you're interested in Silent Hill, definitely hit the sub button and let me know what you think in the comment section down below. We'll also be linking a new gaming channel in the description because I'm going to transition a lot of gaming content over there, and I'm going to post like raw gameplay. So if you're interested in that, definitely check that out. But just in this article right here, they mention some of the changes that they're going to make to Silent Hill 2. Now, just to show you guys my mindset, I'm just going to say that I'm not a purist when it comes to these remake things. I want the story to be intact and the meaning to be there, but as far as the combat or the gameplay or the level design, I want shout outs to the original. I want it to follow the same beats and format, generally speaking, but I'm flexible when it comes to other changes like that. So I'm not. I do think that the cutscenes are just going to be directly the same dialogue, maybe a couple tweaks here and there. Based on what we saw, that's the kind of impression I'm getting. But the biggest change, of course, is the change in perspective. They mentioned that they're going from the fixed camera perspective to a third-person over-the-shoulder view, and the reason they gave for it is that it immerses players more. They said they want to immerse players even deeper into the game, make them feel like they are part of this unreal world, and deliver them a more visceral experience across the board. So I do agree that in general the fixed camera angle it's an artsy thing, and I love what like you can do with it. The presentation value, there's a lot of scare factor because you can have an enemy that's hidden right off camera and strategically place the camera. There's a lot of amazing opportunities. I love fixed camera angles, but I do think it is a niche interest at this point. People want that more visceral connection to the game where you're able to look around at everything at your own pace and get really up close to everything, and it feels more immersive to you. So I think that's how the general population feels about fixed camera angles at this point, and why they've fallen out of favor. So as much as I love them, and there will always be a place in my heart for them, I still play them to this day. There's a new game last year called Tormented Souls that was really good. There's another one coming out, it's slipping my mind right now, but these games will always exist. But Silent Hill and Resident Evil, they need to go for the mass appeal because these are the massive tentpole franchises. They should be gunning for one of the best-selling survival horror titles of all time. So they should be trying to compete with what Capcom's putting out right now in terms of sales numbers. So artistically, I think it is also a choice that makes sense to have a more immersive experience. And, you have to make some changes. If you're going to make a remake, you don't want to just do the same exact thing because then it would be a remaster, So I'm cool with a new perspective on it. And they say with the new perspective, they have to remake the combat system. And I'm hoping we get more depth out of it. I would like, maybe we have a dodge button, or there already was a block, but maybe even like a parry type of thing. Or I would like to see a bit more depth strategy involved with that. Maybe even some inventory management would be cool, because you have a bottomless inventory in the original. Maybe some limits would actually kind of help the balancing and gameplay. This is kind of stuff where I'm flexible on. I would like to have a bit more of an engaging experience. Not that the combat's even really the central thing. It's all about the story. It's all about the puzzles and whatnot more than the combat. But I do think that there's an opportunity here to make a combat experience that is more engaging than people like. So I think there's an opportunity. And they say they're going to rebuild the combat system and certain set pieces. Now, by certain set pieces, I'm imagining that they mean the boss battles and other key moments in the plot. You have to do that because most of the boss battles was just an enclosed space, and Pyramid Head or whoever the boss battle is chasing you in circles, and you have to dodge their attacks and take pot shots when you can. If you want to make a more engaging combat system without the fixed camera angles, we're gonna have to completely reimagine all that. So this is actually exciting to me. I'm curious to see how they're gonna take the ideas from the old one
and really bring them out. I mean, there's so many opportunities. Like, you can take that meat factory confrontation and make it a lot more immersive and cool. Not to get too deep into any particular thing, but the final boss battles, you know, with the pyramid head and stuff, it was just like kind of running in circle with the room. So I think there's opportunities there for to make things more cinematic, you know, and we'll have like stages of boss fights and stuff. So there's a lot of opportunities here for new things. So they say now that you see basically what James can see, we can find new ways to keep the player on edge. So they have to add new scares in because, you know, they know people are going in knowing what to expect, so they want to surprise people still, and I think that's a good thing. And of course, now, you know, some scares are ruined by the fact that you don't have the fixed camera angle anymore, so you can't do a startling camera change. That just isn't going to work. So I'm curious to see, you know, what they add in. So they talk about the motion capture that they added and having acting is good. I think the facial expressions are great. I've already said I'm not sold on the facial design yet, but I'm sure they're going to tweak that. But I think they got the color scheme right. And I think that what we've seen visually speaking is very faithful. I mean, you know, this monster looks on point, the setting, color scheme, everything. This is especially faithful, just directly out of the original game. The car looks the same. Everything looks great. So I'm really excited. The Pyramid Head looks great with the rain falling down. And they're talking about they're using PS5 features. So if you have PS5, you get the 3D audio. You get the haptic feedback and adaptive controller triggers on the controller there. So all that's good. And from what I understand, those features work on PC as well if you have the controller. And then they say it's going to be seamless, no loading screens at all. And that's kind of a new standard. You get that in like the God of War game. And I really like this seamless transition in and out of cutscenes. And it's going to make it more cinematic experience. And that's, of course, what they should be aiming for. So I'm really encouraged by what I'm hearing here. I know some people might want it to be just more classic in terms of they might want the fixed camera angles, but I'm happy with it. I like how it's looking. I think it's looking like shaping up to be something incredible. So, and we got these guys in on it. It's gotta be great. Come on, I got faith in it, man. Okay, so the next game we're gonna talk about is Silent Hill F, and one of the big pieces of news we got about it is that it is gonna take place in 1960s Japan, which you could get from the trailer. I just kind of assumed that we're going to get to Silent Hill at some point, but the fact that they are setting it outside the US for the first time, we've never had that in the Silent Hill series before, so I think it's exciting. And the imagery is interesting to me. The flowers, the fungus, this idea of like a corruption or natural, something taking over the environment. So maybe somebody from Silent Hill travels to here and spreads this corruption and infection or something. And I'm liking the visuals. I think the setting is going to make it stand out in the series in general. The colors are amazing. One thing I'm slightly concerned about is some of this corruption spreading stuff looks like it took inspiration from the film. And to me, the film, you know, I've already talked about it, but to me, it's its own thing. I don't think of it as the best Silent Hill movie because it kind of is its own invention and it's not really all aligned with the lore of the game. So this infection spreading stuff, you know, I'm not totally against it. It's a red flag. I'll put it that way. But I know who the writer of this game is because my sister is like a huge fan of this writer. He is known for really elaborate and in-depth visual novels. So these are like games that you read basically. They're very popular in Japan. So he's an auteur. It's going to be a very new vision, and it's somebody who is very in tune with their own creative vision. So it's going to be unique in the series. There isn't going to be anything quite like it. So I'm excited about that. We have no idea what type of game it is at this point. Of course, it's going to be a horror game, but is it going to be more like an adventure game? I don't think it's going to be a visual novel. I just somehow don't think that Silent Hill would just make it this big, one of their tentpole games that they're showing off in their conference. And I think it's going to be more than that. So I'm curious if, it's going to have combat, or if it's going to be like a Silent Hill title through and through, if it's going to be its own unique thing. I'm really curious about it. So it's developed by the people who are making Reverse, and they made the other multiplayer Resident Evil game. So they're developers that I don't know if I played any of their single player campaigns. Did they make the Remake 3 of Resident Evil? Somebody can let me know. But the F, I forgot about the F. The F is musical notation, and I asked somebody about it and looked into it, and the F stands for loud. So Silent Hill Loud. And it's cool. I like the musical theme. I mean, we had the piano puzzle in the first game, so having that kind of connection is going to be interesting. I'm really curious what the vision is with that. And here we come to Silent Hill Ascension. And this is my warning to you. Do not get invested in this or hopeful about it. I have experience with this company because they made all the same talking points in the interview that you get, that it's this interactive live stream experience that is a unique storytelling thing. They had all these same talking points about their previous project, and that is The Walking Dead Last Mile. You can try it yourself right now. It's on Facebook. It's essentially a very simple mobile game, and you create a character. There's like 20 different faces you can pick, and then your character does missions. It's just a casual kind of time waster thing. Basic mobile mini games, and the storytelling that you get is basically every week or so there is a new cutscene that comes out, and the cutscenes are okay. It's not like super high quality, but they do at least try to put some thought into the story, and your influence on the story is unlocking these credits here. You see I got 1,300 of them, and then you go to these bids, and these are decision points, and they explain it here. Decision points that are going to impact the next upcoming cutscene. You decide if you want the people to make one choice or the other choice, and that's pretty much all you get. And the decisions, it's written like a Telltale game, or like Mass Effect, if you ever played one of those games. It has very little impact on how the story turns out. It's like, a slight change in the cutscene. So I have trouble even picturing what the Silent Hill version is going to be, but gauge your expectations to this. I don't know if it's going to have some kind of mini games, and I don't know. They make it sound like it's a live stream show that you tune in at this time and we'll watch a show together, and it'll be like a Telltale game. It's not like that, or they said all that stuff with The Walking Dead Last Mile. So, and the fact that J.J. Abrams is involved with this, do not get anywhere near the Silent Hill franchise, please. No more. I've had enough franchises ruined by that company, Bad Robot. So I'm just throwing that out there.
And the last game we're going to talk about, of course, is Silent Hill Townfall. Now this is being developed by a developer called No Code. And one of their previous games that I've played is called Stories Untold. And it's kind of like a bunch of short stories, 3 short stories, vaguely related. They're horror-ish. And then in the final part, all the 3 chapters, which seem completely separate, are all tied together, and they're like dream scenes and stuff. And it was pretty cool. The gameplay was like you're in front of a desk, and then each episode has problems you solve just in front of you. So the first one is like harkening back to old school adventure games before there was like graphical interfaces where you're just typing commands. And then you kind of get involved in the story, and the environment changes depending on what's going on. It was cool. It was a pretty basic adventure game, though. The older ones were more in depth, but it was still cool, and the presentation was good. And and I was always intrigued by each story. Here's a situation where you're like a scientist or doing an experiment, and you click on all these different knobs, and it basically tells you
what to do, and then you just have to carry it out. So it's not big on puzzles, but the storytelling's cool. So honestly, like a stripped down kind of basic adventure game. It sounds like something that could have a lot of potential. You know, it kind of reminds me of Silent Hill Shattered Memories, which was a similar kind of psychologically based game, and it was kind of stripped back. It was more basic type of gameplay and just focus on the story elements. And I think that's something they could try to emulate with their game Townfall. So I'm really looking forward to it. Now, I'm curious. It sounds like they're ghost hunters trying to explore Silent Hill or something like that. So that aspect, story-wise, I'm not gonna be as into that because, you know, Silent Hills, it's not really like trying to be like a ghost hunter type of thing. Like a ghost hunter thing doesn't really fit with that. But you know, it could be kind of interesting to see like the outside world starting to take notice that weird things are happening in Silent Hill. Might be okay. It might go a little over the line. So story-wise, I'm not really sure how I feel about it, but we'll see when we learn more about it. But I do think the developers, they have the potential to make an interesting story here. So I'm curious about it. And lastly, I just wanted to say briefly, you guys heard my opinions on the first Silent Hill film. So as far as a sequel, I'm just gonna be kind of neutral on it. You know, I'm gonna wait to see something before I get excited about it. Like I said, I have a script of Silent Hill 2 somewhere, so I'm like, it's been an obsession for years trying to adapt that into a movie. So if they do it and it sucks, that's gonna be unfortunate. But I'm not gonna get excited about it because I don't feel that the first film was very faithful, and that's just my opinion. And you guys already know, you know, if you have a different opinion, that's cool. I'm not mad at you or anything. So if you like the movies, awesome. I could still find enjoyment in them, and the effects are great. So I'm not 100% against it. But what I'm excited about is the game. So that is my rant on the upcoming Silent Hill games. Let me know your guys' opinions in the comment section down below. What do you want from Silent Hill 2 Remake? Do you like the change in perspective, or do you wish it maintain the fixed camera angles? Let me know in the comment section down below. And with that, it's been your boy Shuggy, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace out.